Over the last year or so, I've become addicted to Dead by Daylight. I started really getting into it after Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster was announced, and I wanted to play something to kill time while waiting for it. Needless to say, I was immediately hooked. Get it? Yeah. But then my completionist side took over as I looked at the over 200 achievements in the game, and I thought to myself, challenge accepted. So I've spent the last year or so essentially grinding the achievements in Dead by Daylight one by one, with the exception of the Adept achievements for the Stranger Things characters, as I unfortunately never unlocked them when their Adept achievements were still in the game. So I thought it would be fun, while we all wait for the FNAF chapter to get released, to count down what I thought were the worst achievements to unlock. Now, what do I mean by worst? Essentially, what I mean is that if I was getting pissed, the achievement was bugged, or it was something that essentially required me to sabotage a game in the case of Survivors, then it'll go in the worst. And to make this fun as well, I'll be making two separate lists for Survivor and Killer, so there's some variety in the video. On a final note, I tried my best to not include the Adept achievements in here, but there was absolutely no way I wasn't going to include at least one from each side. Sounds good? Alright, let's get into it. Holiday get-together. In a public match, have at least 3 survivors hooked in the basement at the same time. This may be a bit of an unusual one for a list like this, but it's more so for something I realized recently. The amount of times I've had the opportunity to get this achievement were so slim that I'm surprised I got it so early on. There's a few factors working against you in this case. The first is that, depending on the map you get, the basement can spawn in an area that's really out of the way, like in the game. The second is that with the new anti-tunneling perks implemented, unless a survivor is in the vicinity of the basement every time you go near it, the hooked survivors gain a little bit of progress on hooking themselves, adding in the extra pressure. Couple that with perks like Deliverance and Wicked, which will guarantee you an unhook, and it makes for a bit more trouble. Finally, I just don't think it's a very fun achievement to go for. Half the fun of playing Killer for me is the chases, and hooking survivors in specific spots to maximize the pressure of the match and try to make them behave more altruistic. Going for this achievement kinda takes the fun out of that, because unless you can get a big snowball event in Shack, which is probably how I got this achievement in the first place, it's hard to remember, it's something that you kinda need to go out of your way to do. Either way, I just found a lot of other achievements more fun to go for. What lurks beneath? You are not. Holiday get-together. Outbreak Breakout. Open the exit gates and escape from Raccoon City Police Department 20 times in public matches. Raccoon City Police Department is, at best, an extremely controversial map in Dead by Daylight and has gone through multiple changes throughout the years. And even in its current state, it's not the best map ever. I have a lot of fun every now and then, but I don't believe anyone wanted this achievement. To put into perspective how absolutely terrible this achievement was to unlock, not only was I frustrated trying to escape from this place, but my friends who I had helping me with this stupid thing when I ran out of RPD badge offerings were also pissed. The achievement is also made worse by the idea that you only have 2 opportunities to open the exit gates to gain progress. Or you could just die and then have to either spend another map offering, or just wait until you get the map again. And it's the fact that you have to do this 20 godforsaken times that really puts the nail in the coffin for having any fun doing this. One of the things that makes it a tiny bit easier, though, is that depending on the killer you run against, you may gain a bit of an advantage as a survivor, as killers like Blight and Huntress, who we'll be talking about later in the list, don't really fare well on this map. Outbreak Breakout is the equivalent of punching a tree until it breaks. If I wanted to find the most time to spend in RPD, I'd probably just play Resident Evil 2 again. Out of nowhere. In public matches, hit 40 survivors with a basic attack while you are undetectable. On the surface, you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, hey, Teddy, this achievement sounds easy as hell, why is it on this list? And I completely agree with you, my friend. There are many ways to hit survivors with a basic attack while undetectable. Pyramid Head and Unknown in particular have perks which makes this achievement way easier in theory. Here's the problem. I don't know if this is still the case, but I was playing and going for this achievement when the most recent killer to be released was either Dracula or Houndmaster, I can't quite remember. With that time frame in mind, and with every possibility to make this achievement obtainable, the only killer I was ever able to make this work with was Chucky. Now, I don't know why he was the key to making any progress on this stupid fucking achievement, but there remains one little fact about this that I've been leaving out until right now. Why? Comedic timing, my friends. Upon deciding that I was going to do this, my friends made me promise that I would unlock Chucky as my last killer. Why? Because they're assholes, that's why. In all seriousness, this achievement pissed me off purely because I knew it was there, but I couldn't get it until I had unlocked everyone else first. So this achievement isn't here because it's hard or annoying really, but because it's bugged and because my friends are sadists. Chucky would be proud.
Well, this sucks.
Adept David. In a public match, escape with David using only his 3 unique perks. Some of you might have been expecting this one to show up, and for good reason. David King comes with 3 unique perks that vary in quality. We're Gonna Live Forever gives you a 100% boost in healing to survivors in the dying state, along with them gaining endurance for 10 seconds when they get up. Dead Hard is a perk that, by itself, should have made this challenge incredibly simple, as long as your timing is good. My timing, however, is not good. Now add in the last perk, and the part that made this challenge so annoying for me. No Mither. No Mither is a perk that does 3 things in particular to your survivor. Firstly, you're permanently broken throughout the whole match. This means you cannot be in anything more than the injured state the whole game. This also means you can never be healed to full health, meaning the killer will down you in 1 hit. Secondly, you don't leave blood trails, and your grunts of pain are reduced by 75%, so you can hide a bit easier. Thirdly, and possibly the best trade-off for this dumb perk, you can recover from the dying state at any time. Now, I don't know if it's just the fact that I suck with only using his perks, but I swear no Survivor Adept pissed me off more than David's, and I usually say that putting on No Mither is like playing Survivor on hard mode. Essentially, No Mither is a perk that can be amazing with combinations of other perks. That being said, David's Adept doesn't have any of those perks, and my timing is awful with Dead Hard, so Adept David can bite me.
Oh my fucking god!
Adept Nurse. In a public match, achieve a merciless victory with the Nurse using only her 3 unique perks. Now this is another one that, just like Adept David, I knew I had to include somewhere in here, but unlike Adept David, where I can admit it's David's skills that make me want to turn my scrotum into Swiss cheese, here it's the Nurse herself. Nurse is probably the most powerful killer in the entire game, able to make mincemeat out of survivors with the correct build in mind. That being said, she is also the most difficult killer in the game to master, and I had the unfortunate experience of learning that while going for her Adept. So for starters, Nurse is the only killer in the game who has 3.8 movement speed by default. If you're unaware of what that means, most killers in Dead by Daylight either move at a pace of either 4.6 meters per second or 4.4 meters per second if they're on the slower side. But Nurse is the only killer in the whole game who has a movement speed slower than that of survivors at 3.8 meters per second. The trade-off is that Nurse has the absolute best movement/traversal ability in the game with her teleportation, which should make this easier. But the next step, which raises itself out of the corner of your eye to make you trip, is the fact that Nurse's teleportation ability is possibly the hardest power in the game to completely master aside from Blight's Lethal Rush. All this to say, I'm not good at Nurse, and when I finally landed the final blow on that survivor that gave me the Adept, I screamed so hard that I hurt my voice for the rest of the day, so much that I feel like I need a nurse. How ironic. Taking one for the team. Protect a recently unhooked survivor by taking a hit near them 250 times. This one is on here for one specific reason. This was the last achievement I needed to unlock, and it is arguably the grindiest achievement for survivors in the whole game at the moment. I get this is supposed to be an achievement you acquire over a long period of time, but even then I feel like it's way over the top. Most of the achievements of this type are usually limited to 100 with things you need to do and are usually scaled well, but with taking one for the team, trading is almost necessary if you aren't running perks that can give you endurance like Metal of Man or Dead Hard or Styptic Medkits, and in general, if you're not actively going for this one, you might get it with an insane amount of grinding and being altruistic, but that's not always the best plan in every match. You might be facing a killer who never goes near unhooked survivors or is just AFK for most of the match, or you might get teammates that don't rescue you on hook after you save them, like, thanks a lot, assholes! Overall, this achievement, right up until the end of the grind, was a stark reminder that I hadn't gotten everything. The only reason why it isn't higher on the list is that there is almost always going to be progress to be made in this achievement, and it isn't difficult to get, it's just really fucking long and boring. I get this is an achievement you're supposed to earn over the course of playing the game, but even then, taking one for the team is exhausting. And so is this achievement.
No, get the camera!
Skilled Huntress. In public matches, down survivors 20 times with the Huntress's hatchets further than 24 meters. There's a pretty big reason why this achievement has an abysmal unlock rate on pretty much any platform you can get it on. It's a dumb achievement that has the effect of making you want to chop whoever you see next in half. I was kinda tempted to put I want to play a game or Swirling Death on here, but the simple fact is that you can always gain progress in those achievements over a period of time by just playing the game naturally. Skilled Huntress is like giving a caveman a rock and asking him to beat Tarhos in a fight. The thing that makes this achievement particularly difficult and annoying is that if you want to get easy downs with the hatchet as Huntress, you'll probably want to use an attachment like Iridescent Head, which makes all of your hatchets down in one hit. The problem is that you only get one hatchet at a time with it equipped, and this may just be me, but I swear to God, DVD just chooses how long meters are at times. If you don't use Eerie Head and just want to rely on survivors being either friendly or stupid, you can, but the fact of the matter is that Huntress does not benefit from trying to cross-map people like this. Speaking of which, Huntress suffers a lot on certain indoor maps, so if you happen to get, say, Larry's, The Game, RPD, or Hawkins, you're already having a tough time, much less making any progress on this thing. Trying to cross-map people on outdoor maps? Nope, the trees will always block your hatchets. Overall, Skilled Huntress is a waste of time, and I feel worse about myself for having gotten it, only with the help of 2 friendly survivors. I'd rather go cross-map people on Black Ops. At least there I won't be impeded by every fucking tree branch.
How would you like to suck my balls?
Left 4 Dead. As the last person still alive, activate the last generator and escape through the exit gate. You have no idea how hard it was for me to not put this at number 1. This achievement taunted me all throughout the grind, and it's mainly for a few reasons. Let's count them. 1. The situation requires an insane amount of luck just to be able to get this achievement. You need to survive, you need to be the last person standing, you need to be in a position where there's only 1 gen left to do, and you need to hope you get it done before the killer finds and closes the hatch, because once they do, you cannot repair generators anymore and the game goes into the endgame state. 2. You need to escape through the exit gate, and when you're the only survivor left, it'll be really obvious which gate has progress, making it easier to get caught. 3. You cannot escape through the hatch, which would make this achievement so much easier. All of these factors adding up are why this is easily one of the most frustrating achievements to go for. About the only instance I can see which would make this easier is taming a killer. Hell, the only way I got it is because a Singularity was nice enough to let me go. I have since unfortunately lost this footage, but if you were playing Hux on Dead Dog Saloon and let a Jane go in the endgame, thank you so much because you single-handedly saved me so much stress. The only, and I mean the only reason why this achievement isn't at number 1 is because it is technically possible to get it in every single match that you play as a survivor. But given I didn't get it until about 10 months after I started playing, you may very well be waiting a long time. Bottom line, this achievement is way too specific to set up, and you'll be feeling about as dead as your teammates by the time that you get it.
What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Evil incarnate. In a public match, kill all 4 survivors with the Tier 3 Evil Within. Come on, you knew this was going to be number 1. Evil Incarnate has an insanely low unlock rate, and for good reason. Michael Myers in the right hands can be an insanely powerful killer, despite his limited abilities, and it all comes down to his add-ons. Depending on how you build Myers, you can either make literal wall hacks or break the rules of the trials by instantly killing survivors. These are the Tombstone add-ons, and they're pretty much the most busted thing Myers has in his arsenal. And if you pair his iridescent add-ons, you have infinite Tier 3 Evil Within and can kill survivors with your bare hands. In theory, this sounds like it should be no problem. Here's why it is, though. Survivors are way too aware of this achievement. In order for this achievement to activate, you need to use the Tombstone Mori on survivors. This means if you do a regular Mori, aka the one when survivors are on the ground, it doesn't count. You need to grab a survivor when they're running and kill them that way. Now, the main way I see things, if a survivor decides to wait in a locker, uses plot twist, or anything that keeps you from grabbing them, then your chances of getting this achievement are gone. Couple that with the insane amount of times it takes to stalk survivors enough to get into Tier 3, and the possibility that you might not even have enough stock left if you use the Tombstone piece and not the slab, and this achievement can be a clusterfuck of anxiety mixed with a lot of raging and frustration. All that being said, though, I got this achievement on my second try. My first try ran into one of my best friends now, and I kind of respect how much this achievement doesn't give a single shit about the player, and just makes you go full psycho as one of horror's most iconic killers, just as he's depicted. On the other hand, it's still stupid, and just adjusting it so that any Mori in Tier 3 counts would make things indefinitely easier.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Hand-eye coordination. Find and use the hand or eye of Vecna and escape a trial. Left 4 Dead may have haunted me for longer than this achievement, but this one is worse for a different reason. Vecna is a killer who, in the right hands, can be extremely deadly and end a trial faster than you can say D20. When he's the killer, there are certain chests in play which contain certain items which can be used to counter Vecna in certain ways. Whichever item you get is determined by a D20 roll, and if you get a 20, you either get the hand or eye of Vecna, two extremely useful items which can either allow you to teleport or go invisible for a brief period of time. All that being said, there's a good chance you might be able to make it out with one of these items, but there's only one problem. As of recent stats, Vecna is sitting at an abysmal pick rate for a killer, hovering between 2 to 3%. So all in all, you have an extremely rare chance to run into a Vecna in the first place, let alone get the item and escape with it. The fact is, this achievement is luck-based all the way, and unlike Left 4 Dead, you do need a specific killer to achieve it. What's kind of interesting is that Vecna isn't really all that bad, but I don't know if the greater DVD community is just stuck in their ways playing Ghoul or Huntress and isn't willing to give this lich a shot or something, but all I know is that if I had the chance, I'd buy him for everyone just to make this achievement less of a pain in the ass. And there you have it. Those are my picks for what I think are the worst, least fun, most annoying, and just generally undesirable achievements in Dead by Daylight. I thought this would be a nice change of pace, as FNAF is getting added to the game soon, and I always enjoy looking backwards. The best part of this as well is that there's a nice little comment section down below, so let me know if you found any of these achievements annoying or easier, or even which ones you would replace in this list. Keep in mind that this is just my silly personal opinion, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And while you're at it, why not like and subscribe? Liking helps me out and says you want more videos like this, and I'm so close to 500 subscribers, so I'm hoping to reach it soon. I love all you guys, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.